Okay, good evening all. That worked then. Welcome to the BATC Q100 Net. Bit early yet. So far I have Gareth G4XAT, who'll be first to transmit, followed by Nigel 20EHH. Sorry I missed your call earlier, Nigel. I was walking around IKEA, which wasn't the best place to take it. Then Mike G0MJW, James G0DQH, then Charles G4GUO. So that's 5 at the moment. And I'll put Richard GI4DOH on the end of the list there after Charles. I'll type that up in a moment. What's been happening this week? Well, the main news you need to think about is if you had any contacts at all during the contest, you need to get your logs in before Monday, please. I certainly still do. I need to check mine and get mine in, but please send those to contests@batc.tv. Let's put another log on the fire. That is the main news. We've had a BATC committee meeting this week, and there'll be some news coming out with CQTV, which we hope to get out early next week. Martin G4FKK, you're now on the end of the list. Good evening. So let's go straight round to Gareth, see what he's been up to. G4XAT and the net, G8GKQ.
Right, I hear my fans, unfortunately. Okay, that's muted. Evening all from G4XAT on the BATC Thursday evening net. Only just caught me in time there, Dave. I was thinking I had loads of time, and let's put me on instead of my test card. That would be good, wouldn't it? Okay. Various bits and pieces this week. I've been experimenting with horn design for this C-band LNB. Yeah, you can see that okay. So with some software, I got a horn design for 10 dB, D or I, I'm not sure which, and then printed it and flat filed it smooth, and that will then get fitted to the LNB, and that's so that I can point it permanently at GB3 JV up the road from me, hopefully anyway. Okay, what else? I haven't even compiled my list of things, but I've been working on a stroke P dish today, and that is it. Mainly because a second bullseye arrived today, so I thought I'd better progress dragging the dish out. It's another one of my inverted mount dishes for portable ops. It sits on about a third of a pallet on a hinge with a back prop, and it takes about 5 minutes to line it up with a sat finder, which is handy. The potty, if I can find the right picture. No, I can't. Yeah, all right, cat. Ignore the cat. Now, I'll give you the picture the next time of what I've done to the potty. Instead of putting a socket on it, I've, excuse the cat. Well, I'll show you it, why not? I've put a bit of hard line. Especially if I switch across to the shack cam, that would be good, wouldn't it? Okay, so I've got several of these N types to SMAs. So I sacrificed one It's got a little bit of brass bracing, and I'm going to 3D print a mounting bracket for that, so that my hardline feed can come straight up there and couple onto there. So fingers crossed that's a good one. Okay, I won't waffle on this time, since Colin's got to go to work, so I'll shut up and put it around to you, Colin. G4KLB to take it from G4XAT in the net. Over.
Okay then. Oh, I see it's gone up a little bit. I did. Right, let's just kill my audio. I'm still not a master at this. Still not a master at this OBS and everything else type of thing. But anyway, got a bit of a sunshine. Yeah, I wasn't sure if I was going to be first or not, and I missed the first call sign that was mentioned by Dave on the. I was still lingering on GB3SQ. That's the problem. But nonetheless, we're okay. Been a busy week. We're working on multiple projects as usual. So been doing all sorts of little bits and pieces. Been playing with all sorts of bits here. So that's what we've been up to. But yeah, I'll probably only be able to do. Well, I might be able to do two. I might be able to do two if I'm on early actually. But I will have to depart. I'll come back later. If I'm not going to come on again, I'll write something up on there. But as I'm on early, I might get a chance. I'm usually on late because I'm normally still waffling on GB3SQ for well, I sort of tend to overrun occasionally. I don't know, but but there we go. So yeah, so it's been a good week. I have found the time to send my contest entries to to the relevant place and had a reply to say they've got it. So that's very good. I had actually a whole day of paperwork actually. Dear oh dear, with one thing and another, but not too bad. So yeah, been doing all sorts of bits and pieces here really. But my primary goal has got to be getting that the main repeater built. That's I'm having a bit of a push now because we're hoping to commence transmissions in the not too distant future. So I need to get that done because my workbench is totally engulfed. I can see a bit of overspill there, but totally engulfed by bits of repeater. So we're moving on to the next stage. So I have got a complete set of boards that I haven't actually tested. So I put all brand new boards in the repeater because the ones that I have got in the test rig are absolutely solid. We know that they're all working. There is a backup set as well, which will gradually be filtered. I have tested a lot of them, but I haven't actually. I've sort of lost my way as to which boards were tested and which weren't. But most of them have been fired up, but a lot of them just haven't been done. So I've got all brand new ones in there. So I don't envisage any problems because they've all been made the same. So they should all work the same. So there we go. Right. So there's a few on. So I'll pass it over now. So it is now 2E0 EHH to take it. G4KLB.
I don't know if I've got them connected. Oh, let's have a look. not locked. It's 2E0EH8 anyway, guys. I've done a lot of, well, me and another mates, we've changed all the SMAs to N-type, so I'm trying to put, as you can see, I'm getting a better signal on 333 kilosymbol.
Good evening, I don't know if I've got them connected.
Oh, just a delay. Here you go. I don't know how much you caught that, but anyway, I'll recap. I've taken all the SMA cables and junction up from the PA to the dish and from the mini amps SMAs and connected, so I got rid of about 4 and put straight SMAs onto the 6mm cable on the coming from the mini tuner, and so that's that taken care of. That's directing on an MSA 6mm cable. Then I've taken all the SMA junctions going up to the main on the main amp, going up to the potty to N-type. Even from the potty we've changed the SMA female to N-type potty, and even that is giving me a better signal, I hope, reports back. But what we've done today, we've sort of put the potty up on its own, and it works transmitting, but as soon as I put it onto the LMB, I lose receive. So that's why I'm on the streamer. Sorry for being a bit slow when I have to talk, but my brain has to catch up with what I'm trying to say. You'll get used to it. Oh, I just laugh it off nowadays. So that's what we're doing for. I can't show any examples at the moment, but I'm over some reports back. We've sent for another bullseye, because we think the problem is on the lens. I don't think it's correctly made. I don't know if there's a proper way or dimensions, but I've sent off a bullseye, and that's coming Saturday, and hopefully once we put that lens on and put the pottery on, that should do. So I don't know if the distance from cutting well, I'll talk about it more next time once I get my head around it. So that's enough for me anyway. It stayed in the transmitter's not dropped, doesn't drop out. I'll end over to D0 MJW. Make it next. This is 2E0 BATC on the BATC Net.
Just mute that, go to a picture. Hopefully people are getting a signal. Good evening everyone, if you are getting a signal. Well, nothing if you're not. Right, there's not a lot I can talk about today actually, because I've not really been doing anything in terms of building things for various reasons, one to do with work and one to do with another issue. So I was going to show you the bench camera, which has now gained a trademark, and what that shows you is not particularly interesting. It is just a board with an ERA 5, no, a Galley 5 mod amp on it. But the point is, the Galley 5 mod amp came from AliExpress, and it cost very, very little. So I thought I'd try it, and I bought 20 of them. I think it was about 10 quid for 20. And it works. It seems to be pretty much the same as the normal device, so that was a good buy. Anyway, Nigel, you were asking about the LNB. So that does give me the opportunity to show you something. I'm sorry about the noise or the audio. Can you see that? I think you can see that. If you can't see that, don't shout. So this is my lens. It's a Rocket lens. I can show you some of the other lenses. But this is off an old LNB and it's a two-part thing. But you've probably got a slightly different one. Then you've got the potty, and then you've got an adapter, 3D printed, or you can just use the original front of the potty. Anyway, you shove those two together and push that until it gets to the end. It goes clunk. And then you use something like this to mount that where the original LNB would be. You might have to do some mechanical work. And that is one of these. Oops. I've offset the hole to make it, I 3D printed it, but I mean you could use anything, a bit of wood or one of the original ones that came with the LNB. But what you must not do is mount the LNB there, where I'm holding it, on the original mount, because it will be far too far forwards because of the extra length. So it's got to go back so that this bit here is where that bit of the LNB would have been in the original setup on the dish. And if you don't do that, you'll get no signal on 10 gigahertz, and you probably get not very good on 2.4 because this is too far forward. It needs to come back to where it should have been. So hopefully that made some sense, and if it didn't, I'm sorry. But who's next? Because I haven't got anything else to say. Lower mic. Okay. Well, hopefully you saw it. I didn't quite position it right because I wasn't able to see the camera very well. Who is next? It's G0DQH. Right, over to you. G0MJW.
Okay, good evening everyone. Just checked I've got audio, which I do. I have, good. Yes, good evening. I wasn't here last week, of course. Mo and I were in Pembrokeshire for a week, stayed with her daughter and Nigel, and it was a good week. It was very hot, and I got rather burned. You see it more on my hand actually, if I bring it that way. So burnt I was. If I take move the watch. Oh, this camera. There you go. Anyway. I can't get the darn thing back on my arm at the moment. But anyway, I'm waving this thing around, which is the fob which switches on the bias to the TX to the PA. Nigel, I had the same problem with my dish originally on receive, and I had as soon as I went to TX, the signal would go right down on receive. So what I did, I'll bring up some pictures when I can find them. I'll bring them up there. So what I did, I put a couple of ferrites on the cable. This is a 4-output LNB, by the way, so I don't know what I should have, but I've actually put 50 ohm resistive loads on the other outputs. But anyway, I put those on and that helped. But I also covered the whole thing in foil, silver foil, and that really did help. And the other picture, when I find it, there. This is the actual assembly, and the bit on the end with the silver foil around it is mainly to reflect the sun because it gets pretty hot. But the foil is over the LNB underneath that. Now that is actually a food container. The top is actually fixed, and then you can unclip it and take the cover off and get access to the LNB. So if I go back to that photo there, you can actually see that quite well. See the clips off, and the food container I got from NXS, by the way, Dave, on Salisbury Road. I'm not sure they got any there now, because I was in there last week and I didn't see any, but there you go. The other thing that I'm trying to get to grips with at the moment is this. I bought this CTCSS module, and I'm hoping to get that operational in the ST290. Now, if I do that, you might actually be able to see it. Okay, there we go. Okay, that's I've got to connect up the scope actually, because I was going to check it all out before I wired it all in, because the worst thing is to try and sort out the 290, because it's pretty close, all the components in there and everything. Okay, I've got a bit of a toothache tonight. I went to the dentist over a month ago, took an x-ray, and he said I can't find anything wrong, but there is a problem down here, so and it's given me a few problems tonight. So I'll pass it on now to G4GUO in the group from G0DQH.
Right. I've got audio. Yeah, it's a bit of a lash up, I'm afraid. I didn't have the time that I anticipated to sort things out. I'm using OBS, obviously, C920 camera, and then that is going over Ethernet to a Jetson Nano, which is running some bespoke software, a DVB-S2 stack I wrote a while ago. Yes, you saw the graphics card. It's a 3090. I thought I'd put it up there. These things are as rare as hen's teeth, apparently. So anyway, it's running on the Jetson Nano, and that's about it as far as that's concerned. I've been building another Jetson Nano. This is the version with the modern version with the 2 camera inputs. That I'm going to use as for face recognition on the front door. So it'll only open the door to friends. Whether I ever get round to doing it or not, I don't know, but we'll see. And the other thing I've been doing is I've been working on the machine learning. Oh, it looks as if my power's gone up a bit. Using TensorFlow, I'm using. I couldn't be bothered to make a lead to go to plug into the ICOM radio, so I've written some code that uses Python, and it uses GNU Radio to act as an FM demodulator, which it then outputs to a file, and then that's read into the capture software, which produces a load of sample files, and then that goes into the machine learning system, which then works out who's talking. It's just a little pet project, where the best way of learning about something is to do it. So that's why I'm doing that. But I'm not really a Python programmer, so I've been learning about how to do threads in Python and things like that. Ooh, my power's going right up. Hold on a moment, guys. Let's take it down to a sensible level. I've got a load of SSH connections connected to the jets, and the one that controls the actual Lime FDR, and the other one obviously controls FFmpeg. So it's a bit cumbersome to use. But, so I've got to be very careful monitoring everything at once. Anyway, I think I'll only have one over. I don't really have much else to say unless somebody has something they want to discuss with me. And so who's next on the list? It's GI4DOH. So round to you from G4GUO. Don't know how long the delay is on this.
It's G4GU with the group. This is GI4DOH. Yep, I'm there. Yeah, the usual Thursday night panic. You'd think I'd know by now. I thought 7:30 was ample time to set things up. The graphics card decided it wanted to do an update to the firmware, and I thought I would let it do that. So it took longer than expected. Then other things didn't start up. The little earpiece didn't want to connect, and all the rest. So I hadn't actually checked on this frequency before we started there. I did have a burst of a few seconds on another frequency, but it's not quite the same thing. You know, sort of testing what you're going to do. So I think last week when I was on, I mentioned that my main PC had decided to not switch on. It was totally unresponsive. So the last couple of days have been spent with a new motherboard, a new processor, getting all that up and running. So it's just the reading up on the current state of CPUs, and the rest has eaten up an awful lot of time, and the rest, but that's more or less back up and running and getting back to normal, apart from our club magazine, which I have the delight of writing as well as editing. It was due out today, so it's actually going to be a day later. So, but I did, as a little distraction and on the quest for getting portable, put together this, or designed this little 3D mount holding 5 power poles and a fuse and an LED, because it sort of worked out when it comes to stringing all these small amplifiers, big amplifiers, and everything else together. It's getting power to everything, so they're expensive to buy and quite a lot cheaper to make, and a bit of fun doing that. So something practical on the quest to get portable, amongst other things. So apart from that, I'm still waiting for the low dropout 12-volt regulator for the Winter Hill. I sent an email to the company that I was waiting for. They said they'd posted it. They said it hadn't arrived, and I promptly got a refund. I note they're still selling the same thing, but they have pushed the price up, so I've gone to another supplier to get one of those in a few days. This means I'm tying up different power supply module just to not exceed the 12 volts. So that still hasn't quite been finished. Until the lid's screwed on, the job's not done. So not a lot else from me at the moment. I think it is round to Martin, G4FKK with the group. This is GI4DOH.
Yeah, very good, Richard. Thank you very much. GI4DOH and the group, G4FKK. And good evening to everyone. Everyone's a good signal tonight. Nigel, I was getting you directly even on my deaf old system, so that's very good. Oh, sorry, Richard, I just got this box of regulators and switch mode power supplies out because I couldn't get one of those LDOs either, and all my 12 volts are more than 12 volts in the shack. So I used one of these tiny switch mode power supply things set at 12 volts instead, and it works quite well, and I put it on a little plug and socket arrangement, so if ever I do want to change it I can. In fact, I think the LDO turned up fairly recently, I can't remember. Sorry I was late, by the way, but there's live cricket on the telly, so I got engrossed in that, I'm afraid. The tests you've been doing there, Gareth, look very good, very exciting. I must do something with my dish. Mike, I used your offset clamp and spent quite a lot of time fiddling about finding the right focal point, which I found, I think, but I think the dish is, I think either the feed arm is slightly skew with left to right, or I just need to repoint the thing properly. But I got about half a dB extra, so that was well worthwhile. It wasn't very far out of from the focal point, but as you and Dave pointed out previously, that can make all the difference, or a lot of difference. And yeah, Nigel, your signal was completely copyable and really good quality with the 1/4 FEC, so that was good. The Galley amps, Mike, presumably they don't come on that board. Presumably you had to fit them on a board, did you, or are they already on there? 10 for 20 quid or whatever you said. That's very good. I liked your LNB cover, Jim. DQH, looked very good, and sorry to hear about your toothache. There's actually something ghastly about toothache, isn't there? My sister-in-law once said she had a toothache once, said it was more painful than giving birth, so bear that in mind. Nice to see you, Charles, and well done on getting the graphics card. I'm trying to improve my PC here. It's a very ancient i5, but if I'm going to do it, I want a proper graphics card in it, and as you say, hen's teeth, etc. And I liked your power pole distribution, Richard. I've not done a great deal here, well, other than let's find camera 2. I've modified the Dolphin amplifier, which I think most of you probably know, and I'm just testing it with just one fan at the moment, because it does get quite warm, and I don't think one fan is quite enough. I've built this little panel on the back as a temporary lash up for connecting the input and switching and that sort of thing. But what was more of a triumph today, I felt, was when I was fiddling about with something in the garden the other day, I found a very old post office number 6 screwdriver. I don't know, some of you might recognise that. They're absolutely brilliant screwdrivers, but this has been in the garden for some years. I discovered it when looking for this one, which had been in the garden for about 4 days. Anyway, I cleaned it up and reground it, so it's now very nice indeed. Right, that's enough waffle from me, I think. Sorry you're working late tonight, Colin, by the way. And I was interested, you got a reply for your contest entry. I put my meagre entry in, but I've not heard any more of it, so knowing my luck, I've done it wrong, so apologies for that. Oh, one thing I was going to ask you, experts, if I just show you quickly, if I can find it, screen 2. This keeps happening on my Winter Hill. One of the, let's get rid of that. one of the VLC has disappeared. I don't know why it does that. Maybe someone does, or how you get it back without restarting the whole thing. But not that that's difficult. But anyway, right. It's round to Noel. Oh, and Noel, I've been playing on HV. Thank you for making it work much more consistently. That's great. G8GTZ and the group G4 Foxtrot Kilo Kilo standing by.
Okay, W4KAZ G8GKQ. We saw you briefly, Brian. Yeah, GTZ was bust. Yeah, we saw the test card, Brian. We saw your camera image with you in it, but there was no audio. However, you were there, definitely, and it looked like using Express for coding, which with 333 2/3 isn't the best. It's best to feed it with IPTS, IP transport stream or something like that. Anyway, interesting stuff. Yeah, GT's Knowles signal had audio on both streams, on 256 and 257, was both AAC. So I think that there was something wrong with your transport stream, Noel. What have I been doing this week? Well, I've been working on software for the Portsdown. We found during the contest for a few people, and we hope not to have this problem again, that 8 bands worth of band switching wasn't enough. So 16 bands worth of band switching is nearly complete on Portsdown. For Colin, who's probably after this for testing, it should be released as a dev release within the next 24 hours. That's what I hope. So you now select 16 bands, more or less fully configurable. It's been confusing me a lot, but it seems to have got there. Only 16, yes, Mike, only 16. And also been doing some planning for updating the Longmind receiver in Portsdown. I was lucky enough to have Phil come across on Sunday afternoon, and we discussed a few changes. I just need to test them now. And once we're happy with them in Portsdown, of course, we'll put them across into Ryde. Comments. Winter Hill, if VLC does crash occasionally, Martin, I've seen it a couple of times. Apart from making sure you've got the latest version, there's not a lot you can do about it. You might not get a reply for contest entries this week, Martin, because Clive is on holiday in Wales. Expect a glut of replies later in the week when he comes back off holiday. Power poles, I don't know how well that's going to focus. Let's just have a look. Oh, there we go. That comes out quite well, actually. One of Phil's friends was making a job lot of these things. So that's 6 automotive fuses there, with a resistor and a LED across each fuse, so it actually lights up when the fuse is blown. So that's a 6-way power pole. But my main unit in the back of my portable rack now has a 4-way distribution on the back, so I'm starting to get power pole distribution sorted out for portable. Machine learning and threads in Python, Brian. Yeah, Charles, I have enough problem with threads in C, let alone in Python. Good for you. Nigel, really good to see a good signal there, and see that the cable losses, we were barking up the right tree with your connector losses there. I'm really pleased that you've made some progress. I think Mike explained the tuner is better than I can. You do need to make sure the lens is in exactly the right place. Yeah, fun, yes. And Gareth, that hardline feeder looks a really good idea to reduce number of connections in the path. Really good. Okay, what I'll do, if you don't mind, I'll put it straight round to Colin for his final over, and then round to Gareth. So G4KLB next, then G4XAT, and then round to Nigel and down the rest of the list. So G4KLB to take it. I wonder if that's a new T-shirt, Colin, or whether you're still wearing the old ones. G8GKQ and the BATC Net.
Okay, thanks a lot, Dave. Excellent. And there we are. That's it. That's good. Get rid of that test card. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I've shut the curtains already. Now this is still an old one. Mine are blue. Blue is engineering, and red is not. so there we are. Yeah, I'm just about to walk out the door to scoot off to work, so that's good. I thought I should show some things. Show some things. I don't think this camera is set up with autofocus, so I might have switched to another one. But relays and things, I've got hold of some of these. Go on, you know you want to focus. It will focus eventually. On the rehearsal it focused. I just tried this. Go on, there you are. This is by SV1AFN. This will be what I'm be using for transmit receive. Other ones can be utilised. I've got the same relay from Minikits in Australia, but unfortunately, as they're not able to supply just at the minute due to the awkwardness with customs and such like, I was trying a few of those. Our little project, it's not really ready for showing at all, but it'll be the brain of it will be a nano on a breakout board. That's a nano out of focus. Go on, focus. The other one's better at focusing, actually, the other camera, but I haven't got it set up to do so. So a little nano on a breakout board, and a couple of these, relay boards, and we have to add that these don't have I2C on them, unfortunately, but that's how they'll be done. So we're doing a board. I've got some Chinese ones coming as well that can also be used. But we're doing a little board for that, so that will be good. That's the sort of basics of it. And switching things, this isn't actually one, but you could use it. Relays such as this one's actually got 10 on it. The original, the one I'm building first, will only have 8. I know, only 8 bands. What was I thinking? But it is expandable to 16 to accommodate the new way of doing things, which is coming soon. But again, all that plug swapping, it was just too much to cope with, and I wasn't using 8 bands on the day either. So bit of a nightmare. But I did have a couple of accidents. I broke an SMA cable. It seemed to have just got locked, and did the thing you should never do, which was turn the device and not the nut got stuck, and I couldn't sort of get it to go. And in my haste to change preamps, I turned the whole thing. The pin stayed inside the socket, broke off, unbeknown to me. So when I put the next preamp in, I couldn't get anything. I still got no preamp noise. What's going on? Took it apart, had a look. The pin's gone. Where's the pin? It's still in the previous preamp. So that was slightly annoying because that was a cable I'd made up the day earlier. It was brand new, and obviously fitted a little too well. And something happened. I think what I did is I got a bit too keen with the heat shrink and heat shrunk it a little bit too close, and it managed to lock it enough. So there's a lesson learned there. Don't heat shrink it quite. Don't be so keen with the heat shrink. So, so that was a bit of an issue. I don't know which camera people like. People usually say they like the C920. This is a C930E. I think its colour is a little bit enthusiastic. It got lost on the system, and I just threw it back in, and it's worked. But obviously, it probably needs adjusting. But it doesn't look too bad to me, actually. Don't actually look too bad, even though the colours are probably not quite. They're a little bit enhanced. That seems to me a bit too much chroma, I fancy, but it sort of looks okay. So compared to the standard C920, don't try and use the 930 on a port stand because it's not. I think this is actually more natural. Actually, the C920. That's because this one probably has been set up, but the autofocus works on it. So there we go. And good evening to Wolfgang. I didn't catch you on Skew, but I see you're on there now. Thank you very much for what you're doing for us. That's excellent. Right. Okay then. Well, for me, strictly speaking, I should say. Okay then, yeah. But despite Mike saying I was on first, I said I got a bit confused there. Anyway, we got boxes of bits. All sorts of things are going on. Developments are being done. Changes are being made as more inspiration strikes. So, but these little things are quite interesting because they're good for 40 or 50 watts, which is more, which is enough for when I'm out portable. And these ones are easier to control because they've got the necessary bits on them. You can just control them directly. You don't even need some of the actually relay functions. But we've gone for the relay boards because that allows people to use more or less whatever they like and whatever supply voltage. So it started out as a project just for my van, and it seems to have got completely out of hand. So, so there we go. Okay then, that's it. There we go. So G4XAT to take it. I'll say 7.3s. I'll watch as long as I can, but I'll be disappearing. I was going for the wrong mixer then. See me heading to the wrong mixer. So oh dear. I really must get more sleep. 7.3s then, G4KLB.
We have the technology. Okay. Right, G4XAT coming back to the net. Thank you, Colin. Yeah, I have to say I'd had enough of connecting and disconnecting by the end of that Sunday. Fortunately, nothing actually snapped off or went wrong, but it must have been a very close miss, I reckon. Okay, have a look at this. This is out of a B-Sky B LNB, when not the square reel, the separate LNB on a little mini dish, of which I have several. So I thought I'll take the LNB to bits and see what's useful in it. The nice thing is you can actually follow the circuitry along and work out what does what. It's even got a little tiny mixer on there, little tiny green dot over in the bottom right. So I'm hoping by some means, fair or foul, to measure power coming out of that and see if it's an improvement. I've stuck 12 volts in and measured the bias on everything, so it appears to be working, and I'm assured that it's 50 ohms in, so I thought I'd give that a go. And could I ask for technical guidance? This is a transition which I waved about a couple of weeks ago. It appears to be a dipole, not a sampling diode, and as you may be able to see, it's got a C connector on it, and I'm wondering if I can solder on an SMA, and if I can, it'll save me making a whole new transition. So I'd be interested in your thoughts on that. Interesting to see your distribution block, Richard. This is my cheaper solution. I don't have a great fondness for those Anderson power poles. Nothing technically against them. I've got a very, very big 400 amp one ready for an electric car project maybe one day. But this is, as you can see, a 10-way automotive distribution board. I've stuck a little voltmeter in there so you can see what your battery's doing. That's the other end. That's an XT90, sorry. And the other end of that is a 4mm squared cable, and it's got a watt meter on it, which you can use or not use. So it's come apart quite obligingly, and if you have a disaster you can of course yank them apart. So there's it's useful to have multiple outlets, and I was using about 6 of those when portable, and so that goes on. Okay, I think I've covered everything there. Oh, except potty lenses. I've found some Rexolite, courtesy of Neil, who's on the microwave forum. But I've got nylon 66 PTFE and acrylic, and I'd love to know whether you can hack a lens. I've seen the original potty lens, which is just like a double cone of nylon 66. I wouldn't mind having a go at that, but equally I've got an awful lot of PTFE bar, 1 inch diameter, and I know it's got some magical properties. Be very interested to imagine that you can make a lens out of that. Anyway, that'll do from me. So I'm listening, but won't come back unless called. So, all right, okay, yeah, thanks, Mike. I won't. Fair comment and so on. Right, okay. Round to 2E0EHH from G4XAT in the BATC Net. Over to you.
A call sign is per schedule 2E0EHH from the BATC Net. Thanks for your comments. It all much understood and received. Mike, if you could just run through again, if you have time. Change the cable from what I thought it was, LMR 400, but it's some copy of SF 400. But if it works, it works. But it's not. It should have been LMR 400. But I got ripped off. But never mind. You learn. So yeah. So I don't think we'll be able to get much more out of this. Well, I might try next week if I can. I'm on FEC a quarter. Should I be able to try it or not tonight, but another time on FEC 3/4 as what recommended. Trial and error, but that's about it. All I've got for this week. I'm hoping to once I get it right. Oh. So I'll just kick some over. I'll never mind. You don't need to know that. Yeah, just I've lost a train of thought now. But okay. Well, yeah, I remember. To move over from reports down to doing the lime on using OBS. But I say let's walk before we run, eh? That's it, and I'll hand it over back to Mike, G0MJW and the BATC Net, and we're waiting for listening friends. Thanks. This is 2E0EHH, handing the mic over to Golf 0 Mike J. Mike, you have.
Okay. Right. Thank you, Nigel. Yeah, your quarter is actually very, very good. But yeah, maybe a half initially, because you're still a little bit weak. I'll explain the potty bit in a minute. Just a few other comments. All very interesting so far. I should have written some things down actually because I can't quite remember everything I was going to say. But Martin, half a dB doesn't sound very good. I'm sure you can do better than that. So, if the LMB is offset left right, it doesn't really matter, or up down, as long as you peak it up on the dish, as long as it's not too far out. But the focus is really important. So get that right. Okay. So power poles. I've been 3D printing these things. Can you see that? You probably can. It's a parameterized one, so you can go from 1 to 8 or so in one of these things. So there's a slightly smaller one. It hasn't got a fuse in it, but it's very handy for just connecting things up with a fuse on the first side. And the other advantage of these is they're stackable. So you get more, which is handy when you're portable. So that's what they are. They're on Thingiverse if you want to make one of those. I've got quite a lot of ones with fuses in it and ones with LEDs in it as well. The LED lights up when the fuse blows, and therefore ensures that you're still supplying power, admittedly not very much, to the circuit which you've just connected up or blown up or something. But it shouldn't do any harm. It's useful to see which ones you've blown and the fact that you've blown it. How am I busing the power inside? With a piece of wire. Connecting them all together. Don't really want to pull it apart because I might not get it back together. It might break because they're clipped together things, and you're only supposed to do it once with PLA. If you print them with ABS, you could probably do it multiple times, but PLA tends to shatter if you do it too often. I might print a few more in PLA actually, and they don't have to be orange. They can be any colour you like. Now, Nigel, you were asking about this lens. I'll go and get it. Just a second. It's probably easier to show you here where I can see what I'm looking at. So, imagine this is your rocket LNB. So that bit, your bullseye LNB. So that bit is the face of the LNB there before you took it off. So measure where that is, and you want to get this position just about where the end of that metal is, at the same point. So you need to move it back so that that plane is where that was. So if that was there, it needs to come back like that. And that's how you set it up. And then you might have to do some repointing because you might have moved it about a bit, but that's the right place. Gareth says, by the way, that if you want to get the lens cap off, you've got to boil it in water for 2 minutes. What I suggest you do is you put in a boiled egg and do that at the same time, because then you can have your breakfast or something as well. Right. Okay, were there any other questions? I don't think there were. But apologies if not. The only thing is, Martin, good to see you got the thing working. And Gareth, I would suggest you make a proper transition because they're not hard to make, and you've got most of the bits. It's only a little bit of waveguide and a short at the back, and then that's all done. And if you want it to be on a horn or something like that, then you could actually get rid of the waveguide flange if you wanted to. Okay, right. Sorry, I'm taking too long here. So let's say 7-3, everybody. Have a good week, and hopefully catch you next week. G0NJW.
G0MJW of the group GI4DOH. I was actually watching on the, sorry, turn the volume down. I was watching on the streamer there because you're just a little bit on the weak side for me, Mike. I wasn't getting your picture. So, because I was watching the streamer, I didn't see the messages coming up there. So, here I am again. Well, I'm listening to myself on the streamer as well. So, yeah, totally caught unawares. And I missed all my notes last time. Not that I'd that much, but one of the things, Martin, the screwdriver, when you showed that, reminded me very much of that I was using to dig in between the cooling fan for the processor and the graphics card to try and get it out of my old motherboard last week. Couldn't get my fingers in there, but had that for a good many years. Gareth, I've been following the things on the reflector, the various comments and things. This is all new stuff for me with waveguides and all the rest. I sort of understand the basic idea of what it's for, but I've no experience of actually using the things and interfacing with and that sort of thing. So this is all part of the big arena that I'm sort of moving into with the ATV and the rest. Have an awful lot to learn there. And by the way, Nigel, I don't know that I've seen you on the net before, so nice to see you there and add another call sign to the list. Something, yes, the positioning of LMBs. This is one of the long-standing things with the potty feed on my Triax 1.2 meter dish. As it is, I've printed a little mount for it because the actual Triax ones aren't really suited to put in the potty feed on. But also there's an issue on the position with the angles of things that if I want to actually move the potty feed away from the dish, it then falls with the arm being an offset dish. So at some stage I need to find out by maybe digging the old Black & Decker workbench out and try and rig up something to position things and be able to try and find through trial and error what the right position is. I can then work out just what I need to do to make a permanent mounting or a mounting with a little bit of adjustment. I'm sure I haven't optimized what I've got here. James is gone. I was just, I think, I'm just going to comment. My mother always said that you have to look after your teeth because you can't replace them. But that's not quite true these days. Ceramics a wonderful thing as I know, but I can chew my vegetables again. And what else? On the power poles, yeah, Gareth, I didn't even know what XT connectors were until I got a 3D printer, and that introduced me to those. But having an Elecraft K3 for a number of years now, that's where I first came across power poles, and I knew they were popular in the States, and you know, it's what I've stuck with. And certainly in my little box, I will have one fuse for everything that's in the box. Just to again skimping, instead of using a power pole connector to actually connect the 12 volts to the box, I plan to run a lead with appropriate connector, probably a power pole on the end of it, just to cut out one extra set of connectors. So I think that's me been through everything on the list here for this week. I wish you all a very good night. Nice to be on again. It's I should be on next week. We won't be having a club meeting or a Zoom meeting next week, so
What is going on? I must have turned the stream off or something. Came back at very low power and then whizzed up. Anyway, very good. Yes, all very interesting. And some good top tips tonight, I thought. I've decided as unofficial judge to judge. You're the winner of the power pole distribution, Mike. I wasn't sure until you demonstrated click and collect, as Gareth called it. That was very good. And Gareth, yeah, the hardline joint, I shall be doing that after when I build my next patch feed. And yeah, Mike, I think I fiddled about with it for ages to get the focal point right, and then I ran out of time to actually then repoint the dish, because I think I will have to do that. Well, it wasn't very far out, to be honest. My original setup with the non-offset clamp or collar was not that far out. Far out, half dB out anyway in its current position. Yeah, and Richard, you need to print off one of Mike's offset collars for the LNB. I think that will involve you with slightly less metal bashing, probably. And these are the little power supply boards I use. I'll have to switch to that so I can see whether it focuses properly. Oh, it nearly focused. Go over there. They're very tiny things. In theory, they can do 3 amps, but I've never pushed them that far. But they're ever so cheap on the usual auction site. Pointing gets more critical. It is in focus. Yes. Yes. See, all these optical things, Mike, are far too, or Phil, are much too much for me. Those are the same. Yes, they are the same boards as the Mini Tuner. Luckily, I'd bought a slack handful of them a long time ago, when they were still about 4 shillings each or something. Yeah, the post office number 6. I don't know if the one you've got there is the same, Richard, but they are incredibly good levers. They've toughened the steel just right, so you can put a load of strain on it without bending it or snapping it. And I've still got 3 of them. They're standard issue when you join the BBC as an engineer, and then when you change departments, you get another one. Colin's gone, but there's another board I dug out here, which I think is probably what you were going to use anyway, Colin, which is an I2C board with 6, which is quite good. My camera seems to be focusing even slower than Colin's. Nigel, I thought your 1/4 is remarkably good, because you are quite a small signal, and I've got a particularly deaf dish set up at the moment, as we were discussing, and but I was getting a cracking picture from you, and no dropouts or anything. Taxpayers' money, license payers' money. Do you mind? It's not a tax, Noel. Ceramic teeth, Richard. Yeah, they're quite expensive though, aren't they? I seem to think. Oh, and Mike, yeah, the PCBs. I had an email from JLC this morning saying they're on the way. So we'll see how long the actual transit takes. And all understood, Dave, on the contest replies, and the ports down work as well. Yes, I'm going to have to reorganise mine. I've got an Arduino in my ports down, which does all the band and port decoding. So I will probably have to tweak that a bit, I suspect. It wasn't spot on anyway. So on my ports down, I've got an Arduino with a Nextion display, which means I can use a rotary encoder for a mouse, and also displays which relays are switched like that. Anyway, right, I think that's probably it for me. So thank you, Dave, for running a net again, and I shall hopefully see you all again next week. So it's G4FKK signing, but we'll be watching until about 20 to 10, because I want to catch the end of the cricket, if it's still going by then. So round to you, Noel. Better luck this time. G8GTZ and the BATC Net G4FKK. Cheers all. Cricket, if it's still going by then. So round to you, Noel. Better luck this time. G8GTZ and the BATC Net G4FKK. Cheers all.
Nah, sounded like audio. Yeah, look at that. Whoa. Oh, there we go. Don't know what happened last time. It worked before I tested it. It's IPTS into ports down from vMix, and it worked when I tested it. Is it still working? Yes, it is. Good. Right. Not bought the power pole bug at all. Martin will be very impressed that I still use these. My whole system is rigged around broadcast type 4-pin XLRs, so I'm sure Martin knows what they are. Gareth, you did. I needed a connector for 24 volts, and so these little devices are now 24, which is an XT60. I'm now using for 24 volts. So I've gone completely off the rails, non-standard. But there again, I don't really interconnect with anybody else, so that's good. What else? Contest logs, yes, must get round to doing mine. I had to buy a new PC to calculate the numbers. Not quite true. Bullseye LNB, yes, I think I need to get one. So I'll have to smile sweetly at my 3D printing mates to do some stuff for me. What have I been doing? GB3HV. It's had a little bit of attention and getting some more. At least the streaming still works. I have replaced, or we're in the process of rebuilding the transmit tray, taking out the SR systems, and currently putting the ports down in, which means I've got an SR systems up for grabs if anybody's interested. Out tomorrow, stroke portable with G4 FRE playing 47 and 76 gigs, and also a bit of 6 gigs. And when I asked him why, he said, oh, well, I want to put some more entries into the BATC 5.6, 5.7 gig ladder contest. So don't forget that, guys. There is a ladder running until Christmas. Graphics cards, ouch. This GTX 1060, I'm sure I must have paid about, I don't know, I thought I paid about 120 a year ago for it, but it seems to be 200 second hand now. So Gareth, I think we need to talk. I think I've probably got a few too many waveguide transitions, but you can build them. I mean, a couple of these were built by me. That one there was built by me. There's no problem building them. But if you let me know what you want, we might be able to come to an arrangement. Particularly, as I mentioned, I needed some 3D printing. A couple of them are quite interesting. I don't know where this one came from, but it's sort of a back-to-back. It's got a it's a back-to-back transition, which is a bit weird, this one. A couple of them are professional and work quite well. So let me know what you want, Gareth. Also on the bench is the SR Systems, if anybody can think of a good home for it. And there's the in progress GB3HV tray. So there we go. Gareth's obviously retired. So if you talk to him tomorrow, Martin, you can convey the messages. Good. Okay. Don't think there's much else. I told you I didn't have too much to say today. So there we go. And yeah, well done, Nigel. Excellent. Oh, he does agree. Okay. Yeah. Well, there we go. Right. That's it. Glad it all worked. Don't know what happened.
Eventually get there with a lock. Oh, one system is locked, the other hasn't. Right. Yeah, a bit of an abrupt stop. That's a bit of an understatement. Right. Okay, BT screwdrivers. This isn't a GPO screwdriver, this is a BT one. I've no idea where it came from, but it's a number 2, which sits in my toolbox, gets used occasionally. Right, other things in show and tell. That fella, how's that coming out? Well, that's going to focus eventually, I think. Power pole in, power pole out, and a 40 amp meter for measuring current into large PAs. So when the AEVO runs out at 10 amps, I put that in line and use that for measuring power pole current. You can tell how much Noel and I get out portable together. I've got a conversion between power pole and his XLM connector for power, just in case. For 12 volts, I've got a leisure battery, and I've got a 60 amp circuit breaker on the top. So it's not a fuse, it's a circuit breaker, which it seems to be handy. Martin, you were talking about a fan on the Dolphin amp. I don't find my Dolphin for normal portable work needs a fan. XLM. Oh, I see. Yeah, I've seen Maine's version of XLR. I've seen those. I don't find my Dolphin needs a fan for portable work, but it might for home station long rag chews, I suppose. And the way I found the optimum spot for my LNB on my dish was I put the LNB on a tripod, roughly where the dish is, and just moved it where it should be, and just moved the tripod around and up and down to get the optimum position. And then once I'd got the tripod with the LNB on in the optimum position, I then thought about feed arms and everything. Yes, you probably would need a heatsink at 50 watts. So that's about it. As I say, I hope to get the Portsdown 16 band release out. This will be Portsdown 4 first for testing, and then Portsdown 2020 will follow. that's going to be the major work for the next week or so, and hope to see you on the net next Thursday. Thanks very much all, and I'll say good night. G8 GKQ, closing the BATC net and leaving the frequency open. Good night.